Hi, it's Amy.
And it's Tim from GoWithLess. We are still here in the French Alps in a little town called Crolles, which is outside of Grenoble, both of which you may have not heard of. But we have been here for 11 days, and it is incredibly hot here.
It is hot. We are very fortunate that we have air conditioning when we sleep, which is the biggest blessing. What we're going to get into today is the food that we've been eating in France. It's kind of interesting. We've been here for 11 days. We haven't been out to eat once. We have had every single meal at home, and it's worked out really well. We wanted to share what we're eating with you because I would like to see this if someone else shared this in any city, in any country in the world. I'm obsessed with food photos, food prices, what people eat in other parts of the world. We're going to be talking about that in France today. We hope that you'll stay tuned.
We come out with a new video every Wednesday. We're here in France for just almost another week, and then we're off to Italy for some more adventures. Not house sitting in Italy, we're actually there vacationing. Please give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and be sure and ring that bell so that you're notified whenever we release a new video.
With that, let's get started. There is a Sunday market here in our town of Crolles. Our neighbor tells us that it's a really good one and that people from neighboring towns come to this market because it's excellent. We've been to a whole bunch of different markets in different places in France and in the world, and this one is really a good one. Actually, they're all really good ones.
I don't know that we would know. It seems really great to us. As with a good walking tour, we love a good market. So all over the world, we love to visit markets and just see what's going on. So it's fun to go and see how much things cost, to see what people are eating, see what's different, see what's the same. So it's really fun to just go to these markets. Today was our second trip out to the market. We saw some interesting things there. Mostly it's food at the market. Back at home, the markets we visit seem to be focused on stuff like just knickknacks and blankets and handicrafts and things like that. This is primarily focused on food, but there's clothing there and other things that you can buy. Things that we found that are different, so they have like a fresh seafood stand. That was sort of different to see out at a market. I've never seen that at home. I'm sure if you're on one of the coasts, you may see that, but we don't see that at home. Also, there's interesting products here. We've seen horse and
horse meat.
Like horse
Not
meat.
a horse.
Not a horse, unfortunately. And we've also seen rabbit, something that's pretty common here. We've seen rabbit. We don't have that back at markets at home either.
Yeah, the people watching is fantastic, and we're in a place that doesn't seem to have any tourists. So I think I haven't heard a single word of English spoken while we've been here for 11 days, actually.
Amy told the young lady at the market today that she doesn't speak French, and then she said, "Sure, you speak French," and she coached her.
Well, I did it in French.
Yes, each of the vegetables, she would say the name of the vegetable and then have Amy repeat the name back, and then Amy did okay. So I was actually impressed.
Yeah, it was great. She had like a little lesson. The people are incredibly friendly, are incredibly helpful. Just a little note, every single time you see anybody in France, the one thing you must do before anything else is you must say bonjour or bonsoir if it's evening. This is essential. If you get past that, it's probably smooth sailing-ish from here on out with most people. We found them to be quite delightful.
And that's almost the extent of my French. And so, by the way, I worked for French-Canadian companies for most of my career, and I didn't manage to pick up much French.
That's a shame.
I do know.
And we are in France a lot.
That's true. I do know a few words beyond that, but there you go.
The food at the market is delicious. It's similar in price to the grocery stores, but unlike the grocery stores that have sales on their produce, they don't have sales at the farmers market. But the produce is unreal. So we had strawberries today, and they taste like they are dipped in sugar, and they are not. They're just at the peak of their ripeness, and they are perfect. What we've seen in a whole bunch of different markets, we've been to at least 3 French markets. We've seen this 3 different times. They have like these rotisserie chickens, and as Tim mentioned, it's crazy, crazy hot. We're not cooking a lot here. We're kind of making things a little easier. So last week, our strategy was getting 2 of these chickens. And so we got 2 of them this week. for kind of to cover our meals, to like make with couscous and with salads and with a baguette and things like that. But here's what's awesome is they have the rotisserie chickens. I guess they're on a rotisserie, and the juice from the chicken drips onto potatoes at the bottom. Now you would think this would be like the most heavenly potatoes, and we got them last week. They were actually just okay, which was kind of a surprise. Yep. We bought other potatoes. Last week we bought 3 different kinds of potatoes. This week we bought the ones that we like the most, and we were real surprised that it wasn't the ones with the chicken fat all over them.
Yeah. Also, last weekend we bought chickens that were on sale. So they had a promotion. If you buy 2 chickens, I think you save €1, €2, something like that. And so today we thought we bought the same thing. We bought 2 chickens. We asked for chickens, and they rang it up, and it came up at a different price. And I guess we had ordered the wrong chickens. We ordered the big chickens, and so they didn't give us the promotional price. And we didn't know how to say, well, can we go back and find the smaller chickens? Because I think the chicken we got this week was pretty much the same size as what we had last week. So
you couldn't put it back.
We couldn't put it back. No, I guess that wouldn't have been an option.
No, it wasn't an option.
If it were back in the States, I might have an exchange and say, yeah, can I get the small chicken? I'd rather have the small chicken. Not going to happen with our language barrier.
And that leads me to a point I want to make about like the Ooops Factor or the Ooops tax. Because we're in another country, where English is not the language, and we're in an area where English is not common, we pay more. And there are things that just happens. Tim goes to the grocery store and buys beer, and it's like he buys them by individual, like cool, fancy beers. And so he might buy like 5 beers, and he thinks it's buy 4, get 1 free. Every time he does this, he's not getting the one for free, and he can't communicate like, hey, what's the deal with this? That's just the Ooops tax. That's how we look at that.
I've actually tried to communicate, and it just isn't successful. So I don't know. Maybe you need a card. Maybe you had to buy all the same beer, and I bought 6 individuals or something like that. So it's just, so again, Amy says there's a tax that we pay because we don't know the language. I don't know it's because we're in a different place. Certainly, I think if we were in the UK or someplace where we could speak English, we could navigate this a little easier. And the Ooops tax, it would certainly be there as well, because there's going to be things we run into. But it's bigger in a place where we don't speak the language well enough.
And certainly that isn't just with food, but it does come up because most of the things we're buying while we're here are food. So that's most of our transactions. And so we have that Ooops tax come up a little bit more. One thing I also want to mention here in Crolles is that the grocery stores are open, most of them on Sunday morning. This market, as I mentioned, is on Sunday morning. This is quite unusual for other places we've been in Europe. And we've mentioned in places in Europe, everything is closed on Sundays, everything. So you have to figure out what you're eating on Saturday for Sunday. And if you went to get like a baguette for Monday, it's probably going to be kind of stale because you might have got that this past like 2 days ago. So we know baguettes don't stay good for days, usually even overnight.
That's right. So I will eat them. So I make do with a baguette that maybe 2 or 3 days old. I don't know. I do something so I can toast it, or I just eat it and it's a little stale, and that's that. At least it's not moldy. But the baguettes they're good enough, so I make it work.
The way I look at it is life is too short for bread that isn't excellent. If it's not delicious and fresh, I don't eat it. I'll eat something else. Tim will eat it as long as it's not moldy. So thank goodness that Tim is so easy. But I have a little more, I guess, I'm a little more discerning.
What's the word? Refined. She's more refined than me.
That is without doubt.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay, now here's one thing that is a little tricky. I have not figured this out. We've been in Europe for, this is not our first time. I have lost count. Maybe almost 10 times we've been to Europe. And something that when we are at the grocery store, I cannot figure out the milk. I want some milk for my tea in the morning. Tim drinks black coffee, but I drink tea, and I like milk in tea. Well, I got something that was these little guys that it said 30%, and I used my Google Translate camera. Sometimes that has not been working very well, I'm going to say, for this trip. So that can be great. I have not seen it work so great. But so when I'm in the milk aisle, the 15% sounded like it might be skim, like part skim. I'm like, I don't want skim milk for my tea. I just want regular milk. Well, I brought home the 30%, I think it was, and I had to get it out of the thing, the little
It's whipped
thing
cream.
With a knife. Like, it was so thick, I needed a knife to get my cream out. So my British friends, maybe my Australian friends, any like tea purist is like, oh my goodness, that sounds absolutely awful. It is actually quite delicious to be but it's like really, really thick. So it's almost like unsweetened ice cream. It's so thick.
So if you think at home, I think the normal milk is 3%. If
That's what Tim
full
said.
fat milk is 3%. This is 30% fat. So basically, it's just it's the fat from directly out of the cow into the bottle.
Well,
Boom.
thank goodness I only use a little bit of it, and I really do like it quite a bit. But that milk, I haven't figured that out yet. Are you European? If I just want regular milk, what do I want? Is it in a blue bottle consistently? Is it in a red bottle consistently? What percent is it? In France especially, what does it say? Because when we go to Italy, we're in hotels, so we're not buying any of this stuff. Now, I do want to talk about our favorite grocery store, and that is Lidl.
Yeah, we love Lidl. It's a discount grocer, and they have produce that seems to be great. They have pretty much anything you want to buy. It's sort of, I don't really know what to compare it to.
It's like a hodgepodge.
It's like a hodgepodge, exactly. So they do have like bins with stuff in them, stuff being clothes and kitchen supplies and things like this.
A toilet seat.
But it's a rotating...
Who's on a toilet seat?
A yoga mat.
Not a yoga mat, because that's what I'm looking for.
It's a rotating...
I can't get a yoga mat, I can get a toilet seat.
There you go. It's a rotating list of stuff that shows up in the basket. So it's not like you're looking for a salad spinner and you're going to go to Lidl and it's always going to be there on the shelf. It's just so the stuff is very mishmash.
But it's a good price, and they do have good food. So the food quality is excellent. We actually bought some. So what we've been doing, in addition to our chicken, there are a few things that we do to rely on food when it's so hot and to make life like kind of affordable and easy. So we're having like salami is very big here, at least in France. Serving like salami and cheese on baguette for maybe lunch. That's really tasty at Lidl. We're having, for like maybe some of our more substantial meals, some really good filled pasta. We're only 2 hours from Italy. So we have a lot of Italian influence here. And there's some we've had like pesto filled, like tortellini, and they're really, really good. So they're like fresh, like kind of more fresh than we're used to, I think, at home. And actually, it's not that they're not frozen. So they're in like the fresh aisle, which we have in the States, but they're like €1.50, which is just less than $2. Feeds us both, and it's really, really tasty.
I would say that...
But tastier than the Trader Joe's versions for sure.
And more affordable. So I think prepared food at Lidl is more affordable than prepared food back at home. But I think the vegetables are about the same. So if you're looking for a head of lettuce, it's about €1. If you're looking for tomatoes, you can find them on sale for €1.50 a pound. So it's roughly the same. So things that are very affordable here in France that we found are alcohol. So if you're looking to buy beer or wine, they're very affordable. And dairy is very, very affordable. Eggs are about the same as at home, but cheese and milk, and they're definitely more affordable.
And the eggs are really good quality for the price. So they're not like normal. So we got for €1.60, which is just a little under $2. We got 6 like free range eggs from a farm. So that's a really good deal. But when Tim talks about cheese, it includes all dairy. That includes the milk. That includes butter. So the best butter ever is like, so I told him before we came over to Europe to take a peek at the European butter at our grocery store. It was $5.50 for something that was 2 sticks big, basically. And that here is under $2. So not just €2, under $2. So it's a really good deal for all kinds of milk-based stuff.
Yep. Amy and I visited the south of France several years ago, and I left the south of France being
Antibes, Cannes, Nice.
And I walked away thinking France is unaffordable. It's very expensive to be in France. And our last 2 trips, that certainly hasn't been the case. I don't know that it's necessarily a ton more affordable than back at home, but it's certainly on par with what you would spend for groceries and the like back in the States. So there's definitely a way to be here and make it affordable.
So I think it's much cheaper than it is in the States, and I think that the quality is significantly better. And I'm going to talk about pricing in a second. But before we do, I want to talk about a farm that we ride our bikes to. It's open weeknights. I think it's Monday through Friday. We haven't been at night yet. And on Saturday morning. We got ourselves over there yesterday, which was Saturday, at like 11 in the morning. And almost everything was picked over. We really just got some fresh goat cheese and some eggs and 1 head of lettuce, so not much. But the cool thing is that they have all the goats and the cows. So I think that they're making all of their dairy products, their cheese and everything with what they have from these cute little goats.
It seems like everything they're selling there in the store is stuff that they've grown on their farm. It seems that way. Certainly it appears that way. We wouldn't know any different. We're going to say that is the way it is.
Well, why would you have all the goats and not have like...
Well, no, certainly the goats. The cheese and the milk and things like that, I believe, are there. But they also have, a very, very small selection of beer. I don't believe they're brewing their own beer there.
Yeah.
They have some prepared products. I don't know that all of those or when I say prepared, it's like olive
Jars
oil
of jam,
and jam and things like
honey.
that. So unsure if those things are actually made on the farm. But I think all the vegetables that are there, those are on the farm. The eggs are from this farm. All of the dairy that's there, the cheese, etc., is from this farm.
Now we are going to talk a little bit about how much we've spent. So it's day 11, and we bought things that include like paper towels and laundry detergent and shampoo and soap and body lotion and conditioner and all kinds of Tim bought hair gel, stuff like that. So we bought a whole bunch of toiletries in with our food. But for the two of us, for 11 days, 2 people, we've spent about $300 on everything that you could buy at the market, at the grocery store, so that doesn't include anything like any souvenir-y sort of thing, just consumables, whether it's paper products, toiletries, or food, or alcohol. And as Tim mentioned, alcohol is affordable. Sometimes it's less expensive than water. And water isn't expensive here either. We get like these big fizzy waters for like, I don't know, like under 50 cents, a big bottle of, we love fizzy water when it's cold.
Yeah, and alcohol
yeah,
specifically, so I'm a fan of beer, and so I like Belgian beer. And Belgian beer, back at home, a 12-ounce bottle of Belgian beer is going to be, I don't know, $4. Here you can find one for €1.50 that is amazing. And so we haven't been, the alcohol that I've purchased anyway hasn't been as cheap as water. I actually think I did buy a box of wine.
Because you're fancy, you're refined with your beer.
I'm refined with my beer. So we bought a little beer that was more pricey than, but still a great value, but more pricey than water.
Yeah, and I am not really a big drinker at all, but I did get a little box of wine. I got a box of wine because I drink like this much. So I got a box of rosé because it is hot. I'm going to mention this a lot. It's hot. So it's worth 2 bottles and it was €5 and it's been really quite tasty. Actually, I think I'm going to have some after we wrap up this video.
And also, the reason we're mentioning it's hot is it is record-setting heat here in France. So it's been like over 110 degrees. I don't think here it was
like
that
105
hot, but it's been consistently about 105
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
here.
Friday, Saturday. We're on day 6 of like 100 plus degrees.
Yeah, so it is incredibly hot.
Yeah, and people here don't have air conditioning, so that's the
We
big
do.
thing. Well, we do, but we don't use it during the day. We just use it to sleep.
That's right.
Yeah, just use it to sleep because the house is quite cool. So we board up half the house that's in the sunny side, and that seems to keep us cool during the day. And we're fine. We're not hot and sweaty, but we are having a great old time. And that's it. We do want to understand your oopses. So when you've traveled, like I said, it's not just with food. It's with museums we pay too much. It's with transportation. It's just, oh no, we made some sort of a mistake. There you go. We're off to have probably some more good food.
Probably. We're definitely going to have some good food. So we're having a tabbouleh salad with the chicken we brought home from the market today. So it's going to be delicious. It's
going to be delicious. Perfect for a very hot day. So we appreciate you watching. Please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe over here. Comment below. Would you eat horse? What are your oopses that you've had when you've been traveling? We'll see you next week. And again, we're going to be in Italy when this comes out.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.